Hashem's name will be blessed forever and ever. Shalom. Today, we are having a special class. We'll talk a little bit about the prayers of Rosh Hashanah and moving on right away to talk about the Shofar. I even brought a Shofar here. I don't know if you noticed it. It's really hard to notice. It's very small size. It's a Yemenite one. It doesn't even fit the frame here, so I'll do it in two parts. That's part number one. That's the end of it. You see, it's like a spaceship. Okay, and the sound is also great, and that's what I'm talking about. That's the real deal, right here. Okay, we'll demonstrate Be'ezrat Hashem that Kod Ashkenazim / Sephardim do, and Yemenite / Persian do. They're saying that what the Yemenite and the Persian do is a very ancient one, like the one they used to do in Beis Hamikdash. Okay, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to notice the difference. You have to have a nice ear to tell the difference between the Torah. We'll get there when we get there. Okay. So, the importance of Rosh Hashanah prayers. We know that Rosh Hashanah is coming up next week, Be'ezrat Hashem, 2024, Wednesday evening. What's going to be the English date?
October 2nd.
October 2nd? I thought I'm going to have two drinks here. I end up with one. No, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. So, there's some opinions that the tefillah in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur has a very great significance, greater than the regular days. And we want to find out why, what's the difference? Why regular tefillah during the week is less a bit from the tefillot on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. This is tefillah and this is tefillah. Do you have any ideas why they're so great, the tefillot of Rosh Hashanah? What's the one there on the calendar? I can hear you.
Moshe came down from Mount Sinai.
He did, the third time. Okay. What about Rosh Hashanah? So, short introduction. Our sages taught in Rosh Hashanah 16b, Rabbi Yitzchak said, any year that is poor, P-O-O-R, as it begins, will become filled with plenty at its end. What does that even mean? Rashi explained that this means that if the people of Israel understand that they are powerless to help themselves and pray with a genuine humility for God's assistance in the manner of a poor man, as it states in Mishlei, Proverbs 18:23, quote, a poor man speaks in humble, beseeching tone, right? Like begging. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Then they can be assured of God's assistance through the year. The Tosfot explained that when people feel poor and powerless, they are brokenhearted. Automatically, such a person is showed with heaven's mercy. Showered with heaven's mercy. Meaning, there's two ways to come to daven: with pride and with humility. This is something, by the way, I have to do every year, the whole year round. Come with humility. Like we're begging. We're actually begging the tefillah. We're not just reading a text. You feel like a poor. When the poor come to ask for tzedakah, he's supposed to act like a poor. Unlike many that unfortunately we saw in this generation, that they're coming with much pride, and if you don't give them enough, they might throw the money at your face. Yeah, it happens. So in my own eyes. So one of the sign, it happens to you guys? Yeah. Only $20? I didn't come here all the way here for $20. Things like that. So a sign to figure out, to know, if this is a poor man, one of the greatest sign is that they are humble. They're really suffering. They're in a bad situation. They're helpless. Okay, and this is something that shows that this guy is really in need. That's something to think about. This is fundamentally important lesson. When people's prayers come from deep within their hearts, and they pray through a genuine recognition that their lives are at stake in God's judgment, those prayers are effective in protecting the people from harm. More than that, we are promised that through such prayer we will be granted a, quote, wealthy year, successful in every aspect. In the words of Harav Yisrael Lipkin of Salant, quote, breaking one's spirit and heart is fundamental element necessary to protect oneself from the enormous danger one faces during the days of judgment. So, there's two methods to do tefillah. I can do it. There's a broken light that's blinking. There's two ways of davening, with tears and with joy. Which one is the easiest? With tears. Right? We always complain. We have much to complain. We have to do it with joy. We have to find reason. And it's harder, a level of love and joy. I'm talking through the entire tefillah, not 2 minutes, 5 seconds, or 10 seconds, or 1 minute. During the entire tefillah, it's not an easy thing to do. Always thoughts come to your mind with cheshbon from here and problems from there, and that guy's sickness, and so, God forbid, family members. It always comes in during tefillah. So it's hard to maintain tefillah with joy. But with tears, with sadness, it's something easier to do. We can easily find the reason why we are crying or coming before Hashem to beg. There's a lot of reasons why we're doing that. So, first level is like a poor man begging. Higher level is with joy. Okay, it's called in ahava. Okay, if we can do that while we're really happy and dancing and smiling, it's the best thing to do. The prayers of, so last part is, the prayers of Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur are superior to those of the rest of the year. Did you ever hear something like that? A quote like that? Why would they be superior? It says in Tehillim 102, teaches, Rabbi Yitzchak said, the day will come when people will have no Bet Mikdash to atone for them, nor any prophet or Kohen. All they will have is the prayers of Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur. Okay? And God will not ignore those prayers. One day will come, no Bet Mikdash, no Kohen, but they have the prayers of Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur. Something is bothering you with this quote? No? Yes? What? What about the rest of the year? Okay. So it says, the rabbis, okay, and God will not ignore those prayers. The rabbis added that the time will come when the people will lack any deeds to give themselves merit. But when they approach God on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and then God will create them anew. Like new. What is about the prayers offered on Rosh Hashanah that makes them superior to the prayers offered during the year? All our prayers, whenever recited, takes a place of the korbanot, right? Since we don't have Bet Mikdash, no korbanot, the substitute of korbanot will be our prayers, as it says, neshalema farim, oxen, bulls, and animals, sefatenu, our lips. Okay, prayers. We're going to daven mincha, ma'ariv, shachrit. It's instead of the korbanot. As we are taught in brachot, tractate brachot 26b, prayers is called avodah. Okay, equating it to the korbanot. As our sages explain, the verse on Devar in Deuteronomy, to worship Him with your entire heart. Entire hearts. This means prayers. Why then did Rabbi Yitzchak say that the time will come when we will have no merit other than that of the prayers? Oh, good, thank you. Of Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur. As explained above, and I'm finishing this part really quickly now. As explained above, the prayers of Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur are different from those of the rest of the year, since they are more likely to be recited with genuine humility and the recognition that man does not deserve God's salvation, that he is totally dependent on God's mercy and compassion. This type of prayer has the power to annul any decree of punishment that God might have planned for the person praying. This type of prayer has the power of create them anew. They change the essence of the person's soul. So the conclusion here is the Sefer Hagim Uzmanim, explains that our sages arranged for us to read the account of the birth of our forefather Yitzchak to Sarah on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, along with the Haftarah describing the birth of the prophet Samuel to Hannah. On the second day of Rosh Hashanah, the Haftarah includes the response of God to the prayers of our matriarch Rachel, telling her that she may cease her crying and wailing, since He will reward her with for her deeds. This is related to the theme of the Rosh Hashanah prayers, since all these noble women, Sarah, Hannah, and Rachel, were physically barren women who could not possibly have conceived children. In fact, our sages taught in Tractate Yevamot 64a that Sarah lacked the features of an adult woman. In response to their sincere prayers, however, God created them anew, like a new creation, and enabled them miraculously to bear children. We can change nature. We can change nature with tefillah. Where is the tefillah? Where do you buy it? Where do you get it from? How can we acquire tefillah? It's for free. Everyone has to do. Speak from your own heart. It's right here in front of us. And it's a gift that God gave us. The ability to pray and to change our mazal. We should never, never despair. People like fast solutions, especially in this generation. No patience. I remember as a child, we had no phone. We had no phone at the house. One neighbor has a phone. It's in the 70s. Not like America, everybody probably have a phone. You have to wait in line. So everybody knew if someone needs to give birth, there's an emergency, we're going to the neighbor, knock on the door, he will let you use the phone. And you have to dial. And then you have to wait. Today, you have a smartphone. It takes more than 3 seconds. I hate this phone. More than 3 seconds. No patience anymore. No patience. Okay, any questions? We good? We got the idea of the prayers? So let's take advantage of it. Before I will demonstrate the shofar, I would like to share with you one or two halachot in regards to who is obligated to hear the shofar blast. So the halacha says all Jewish men are obligated in the mitzvah of hearing the shofar blast on Rosh Hashanah. What about women? What about children? Rosh Hashanah, whether they are Kohanim, Leviim, Israelim, or converts to Judaism, women and children, however, are exempt from this mitzvah. Although children are exempt, it is a mitzvah to bring them to the synagogue to hear the shofar once they have reached the age of chinuch, and they are mature enough not to disturb others in the synagogue. This is explained below in Siman Yadi 590. Okay, the general rule is that anyone who is exempt from the mitzvah from a mitzvah cannot perform the mitzvah on behalf of someone who is obligated in it. So we said that women are obligated. Can the women blow a shofar for us, for a matter of men? No, because they are exempt. What about a woman reading Megillah for a man? Absolutely yes, because she is obligated. So she can read for the entire congregation. We don't do it because it's a matter of tznius, but she can fulfill the mitzvah. But Kiddush, she can do Kiddush. Hamotzi, she can do Hamotzi. No problem, right? That's the halacha. Therefore, if a child blows a shofar on behalf of others, they cannot fulfill their obligation by listening to him. What about a deaf person? Someone who is deaf but is capable of speaking may not blow the shofar on behalf of others since he cannot hear. He is not considered to be a person who is obligated in the mitzvah of shofar, and so he cannot perform it on behalf of others. It's different in the case that he has this. They had this hearing aid. If you have hearing aid, he can hear. He's obligated. Then he can do for others. Let me conclude this by saying the following. Although women are exempt from the mitzvah of shofar because it is a mitzvah governed by time and date, those women who attend the synagogue in Rosh Hashana to listen to the shofar blast and the blessing of the mitzvah are to be commended. They will certainly receive reward for this, but their reward is not as great as that which men earn for this mitzvah. Since men are obligated by the Torah to listen to the shofar. Remember, we always said this, what the Talmud says, who is greater? Who will get a greater mitzvah? Someone that volunteered to do the mitzvah, or someone that is obligated? He has no choice. Whether he likes it or not, you have to do it. So most people says the volunteer one is on free will, he's doing it out of love. No. The Torah, huh?
The obligation.
It's obligated. And what's the reason? One of the reasons we mention is one that is obligated, all of a sudden the evil inclination come to the game. Try to prevent you from doing this mitzvah. The one that volunteer, there's no evil inclination. The evil inclination cannot beat him. He's not even bothering. So for that fight, that conflict that you have, your evil inclination, you get that greater reward. Okay? The general rule is that, okay, we just said that. If a woman has little children who will make noise and disturb the congregation, if they were brought to the synagogue, she should not bring them to the synagogue to enable herself to hear the shofar. If she brings them and it disturbs the congregation, she will lose far more merit than she gains by listening to the shofar. If she has no other choice, she can rely on the halacha that exempt her from this mitzvah. It's kind of like a challenge that many shuls has. If they don't have a babysitting, or the babysitting doesn't want to care, they don't care for little kids, they bring them to Ezras Noshim, a little child, and he makes noise and disturb everybody. Or God forbid, there's diapers and it's not so much appropriate. Take the attention from tefillah, from shofar, to her, to the baby. I'm telling you, on the level of a Kabbalah, it's not good for you. Not good for the baby. People get upset. They're not telling you anything, but it's not really recommended. Besides the fact that you're disturbing everybody, they're going to miss the concentration to shofar. Okay? So your mitzvah is to be elsewhere. Baruch Hashem, you have children, you're blessed with children, take responsibility, and akol tov, everything is good. Let me conclude this part by saying, if a woman has made it a regular practice to hear the shofar blowing every year on Rosh Hashana, and one year she finds that it's impossible to attend the synagogue, she should try to arrange for someone to come to her home to blow the shofar for her without reciting the blessings. If this is impossible, she does not have to apply for hatarat nedarim, nullify the vows. Remember that we did it here the other day? We're going to do one really soon, on Rosh Hashana actually, and we're going to do another one on the Eve of Yom Kippur, right after Shacharit. Since the plans to continue the practice to listening to the shofar in subsequent years, it is necessary to apply for hatarat never nullify your vows only if she wishes to discontinue this practice permanently. As soon as you do something 3 times, 3 years in a row, it's like chazakah. Nonetheless, you're exempt. You also want the blessing from it, right? So it's kind of like an obligation. Then you have to do atarat nedarim, which is very easy, something we did really quickly. In that case, she should declare that she regrets that when she began this practice, she failed to say that she is doing it bli neder. We've learned many times, bli neder is a great code. That way you make no obligation. Without the stringency of a neder, if her husband, during the hatarat nedarim that he attended on the day before Rosh Hashanah, had in mind to release her from this custom, she does not have to apply for hatarat nedarim. It's a good method to have. Be a shaliach, an agent to your wife when you do hatarat nedarim. This coming Wednesday morning, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to do hatarat nedarim here, and you're more than welcome to join. After tefillah, I would say around 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. Any questions for the demonstration? Okay. So, the shofar. Today we're going to demonstrate just the shofar blast. Let's see, my wife create something. This is the cover. You know what's this cover? It's a yarmulke. We are creative when we need to. Okay. This is the Yemenite shofar. Okay, you can see it later on the YouTube. Let me put the microphone here. Make sure that will be seen. Okay. So you hold it in your right hand. There is the regular shofar blast that we do every morning before Rosh Hashanah. It's called Tasharat. It's the acronym of Tkiya, Shvarim, Trua, Tkiya. Tkiya, one long one, Shvarim, Trua, or I'm going to make the sound of Yemenite and Persian, and Tkiya. Every time you see the letter Resh, it refers to Trua. Okay? So let's start with what we do in the morning. Baal Tokea, the one that is practicing the shofar blast, needs to be knowledgeable, needs to know all the halachot, the length, where to stop, which blast you do while you're breathing, which you're not allowed to breathe. Otherwise, the congregation didn't fulfill the mitzvah. You can't just give it to someone that knows to use trumpets or to know how to blow the shofar. You need to learn the halachot. There's someone that is called Baal Tokea, the one that has this mitzvah, he's doing it for many years, you're practicing. The halacha says you got to pay someone, you have to hire someone to do that. All right? Make sense? Good? Okay. Tashar, what we do in the morning. Difference a little bit when you hear in the morning whistles. You hear whistles in the morning. So I don't know why shuls every year using the same. Why don't you take a shofar, a big one? Just maybe for the gabbais, you can hear me do that. Be'ezrat Hashem. Now I'm going to do shvarim. Shvarim. What is shvarim? Right? This is. Let's start with tkiya. I'm sorry. Tkiya. Tkiya is the long one. Tkiya. This is tkiya. It can be much stronger. You notice the difference? Okay. Shvarim. Shvarim is There's different shvarim. Some do this. You notice? No stop. It's like someone is crying. That's the idea, waking you up. You're going to cry. And now Tru'ah. Tru'ah, there's Ashkenazim / Sfaradim, or the Yemenite / Persian. I just recently find out that the Persian do that. I got a video from someone sent on the group, a shofar doing slichot in Iran from many years ago, but it sounded like the Yemenite. So I called Rabbi Zachariah Serani. I told him I'm amazed. I never do. I thought only the Yemenite does that. If we find out that this is, but what we know, this is the original way of doing Truah. What is Truah? What you used to hear every year. This is the Ashkenazi style Sfaradim does. Okay, has to be minimum amount for long leg, more the better, less might be a problem. Okay, what's the Truah for Sfaradi, Yemenite / Persian? Is this one. Remember two?
Yes.
We have Tkiya 2. It's very similar to 2, but tell me if you notice the difference. It's not Tkiya. Tkiya is 2. Here you'll hear vibration. Okay? I'm going to try to mute. Okay. Tru'ah, Yemenite / Persian. Did you hear vibration?
You hear the vibration?
This is Tkiya. Tru'ah. You heard that? You heard the difference? It's not easy to do. Especially in big shofar, you have to have to push a lot of air. So it can last for the first 10, 20. See if you can do 30 or 100 kiyot. It's not an easy thing to do. And for me, it's really hard every year. I really feel exhausted at the very end. This is not easy. And I was wondering how the grandparents and all these elderly people in our shul did it. I don't know where they have this strength. I'm almost fainting when I'm doing it. Any questions?
What animal does that come from? Is that it's not a typical ram?
Yes, I forgot the name of the animal, but it's one of the type of ayil.
Ibex?
Huh?
Ibex?
There's a name for it, I forgot the name of that animal. Many can be found in Africa, Morocco, and these kind of places.
Usually here is ayah.
The mitzvah is to take the shofar from an ayil, a ram. Okay? Why ayil? To remember the ayil of Yitzchak.
Yeah, like that.
To remember. Not only that, thank you. Yeah, I'm finishing, wrapping it up. So, I remember as a child, when I went in yeshiva, I was in the Ashkenazi yeshivas all my life. So they let on Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, Sfaradim and Yemenite to go home because they know it's not your tefillah. So we're almost not exposed to this shofar that the Ashkenazim use. When I started to daven in a different yeshiva, when we grew up, I can see the difference. In the Yemenite shul, it shakes you. You hear such a strong noise. It's supposed to wake you up. People will cry. You can hear the women from the women's section crying like crazy. It really troubled them. They know it's a day of judgment. The whole year depends on your tefillot now. Okay? So I just want to... We're probably going to have another class on Tuesday. We'll talk a day before Rosh Hashana. We'll talk a little bit more about the customs of Rosh Hashana, why we're doing certain customs with the food, what's the idea behind it. You don't want to miss this class. And just want to wish you a Happy New Year, Shana Tova. Remember, we still have a few more days to do mitzvot, collect mitzvot, daven with kavanah, saying tefillah with kavanah, And everything that we learn, we need to practice. Okay? Any questions? No? All good? Okay. Shavua Tov, Toda Rabba. See you Be'ezrat Hashem next time. Next Sunday. Next Sunday we might have tefillah here. Not tefillah, class here. Not sure yet, I will let you know. Shavua Tov.